Like fantasy?
Film.
Bye! What'd you fucking say?
Fantasy.
Film fight!
I still don't get it.
Fantasy. Fight!
We take the pick of the litter.
We take it in turns.
Someone just gotta go first.
And then?
The next person.
They just go round and round.
That's what.
We call it
Fantasy.
fight. You win some, you lose some.
Anything can happen.
So?
Who are you going with?
Who you picking? Today.
Fantasy.
Film.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 65 of Fantasy Film Fights, the show where we take a random film topic and we draft it fantasy style. Today, we are doing the no prep challenge. So our panelists have no idea what they've gotten themselves into, but the one constant on this show, my co-host, right over here, Mr. Tony Hill. Tony, how you feeling about this one?
I'm feeling good. This is going to be a fun episode. We've got fun people. Sorry about the delay there. We had someone pull out very last second. Just quickly, all love and support. Dave Goodyear, love you, mate. Please, everything goes well, blah, 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 blah. And thank you to everyone. So now I've just gotten like 4 messages from people that just said, oh, yeah, I can do it. So thank you very much for everyone that said last second they can do it. All right, and we'll get you on again sooner rather than later.
For sure. And special thanks to my man in the corner over here, Nico, for joining us last second. But hang on, I'll get to him. I'll get to you in a second. We're going to go around the clock and introduce our panel. Joining us once again, one of our frequent guests, Adelaide Spence. Spence, how you doing?
I'm doing good. As always, I like the ones where it's just absolute improv and insanity, so I'm here for that.
You couldn't have picked a better one. We will see what happens. Down over here in the corner, joining us again, Mr. Joe Harrison. Joe, how goes it?
I'm extremely tired. I'm at the slap happy state of tiredness, so I don't know what's going on.
That'll add to the chaos of the show, I'm sure. It'll be great. Directly below me, joining us again, Mr. Anthony Tisdale, my former teammate. How you doing, buddy?
I miss our team. I'm doing well. I'm excited to be here because the last time I was on this, it really devolved really quickly. And it was a lot of fun. So I kind of hope that happens again, but also for Tony's sake, maybe a little more sanity. I don't know. But to piss Tony off is always fun.
Hey.
This is true. No, that's true. That's very true. And then last but certainly not least, the man who saved the show by joining us very last second, Mr. Nico Gonzalez. Nico, how are you?
Hi. Hello. I'm also tired. 2 words, finals week.
Oh, no.
Not only that, but my film, which I've been touting on this show for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, is actually coming out tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Congrats.
We are
so
wrapping
exciting.
up on editing. So that puts me in a very meticulous headspace, and now I'm just gonna go buck wild for the next like 2 hours because I need it so bad. Because guess what? Making movies is really, really hard.
I've heard.
I'm quite sure it is. All right, so I guess we should reveal what the topic of the day is.
Well,
Tony, do you want to do the honors? Do you want me to do?
I was going to say, shall we do the question first and then let them do the draft
Oh,
order?
not even let them in on draft order or anything? Like, and what would be advantageous?
Oh.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's your call. You want to do that first? Yeah, sure.
Y'all are
got
cool.
the whiteboards.
I am ultra cool. Everyone's
I said cool. Also,
and since Tony and I know the topic, neither of us are drafting together, so the 4 panelists will be drafting 6 picks each instead of 5. So
All right.
24 picks overall instead of 25.
Adelaide's doing maths here. I felt Christina just have shame just watching you with your fingers there. All right, but we'll do the question here. So this is numerical question. Whoever gets closest to the answer gets to decide who goes first, who goes last, and who gets stuck in the rear. So the question: in the US version of Scrabble, how many points is the following sentence worth?
come on.
Fantasy Film Fights presents the No Prep Challenge 2.
Oh wow.
I'm not even sure they can fit that across the board.
You can't.
Okay.
I say that's literally breaking the game. So really, it's worth 0 points.
7.
You can curve it round. It's like a little box.
Isn't there, like,
And we're assuming that this hits no double words, no double letters, no triple words, no triple letters.
Just the score of each letter individually, so no doubles or anything like that. It's not.
How long did this take you, Tony?
There's a website.
I'm sure he has an app.
Oh,
Yeah.
Fun fact about Scrabble: that when my mum was pregnant with me, she didn't have any food addictions or anything like that. It's Scrabble. All she wanted to do all the time was play Scrabble. To the point where they brought a board in for the delivery suite. Surprisingly,
Why can't you spell?
I was about to say.
Yeah, they don't. Tony, why? This explains nothing. You're more of an enigma because of this story.
Oh, jeez. All right, everyone got a number down?
You didn't pass through.
Yes.
I think that's everyone. So we'll go to Adelaide first.
So I did math here. I'm guessing 184, but that might not be close.
Oh God.
Okay, and Joe.
I put 97.
And Anthony.
86.
And Nico.
Going in descending order, 76.
By 4 points,
Oh.
the person that gets to pick draft order is Anthony Tisdall.
Get out of here.
Down to 8
Yeah.
82.
Oh,
Really?
I know.
Sorry, Patrick.
I was
give
so
people
close
the-
to saying that. I was so close.
Show hasn't evolved that far yet. I stress yet.
You gotta
I
show
took
people up.
the
You gotta-
number of letters and multiplied it by 4. I think they did too big of a number.
There are a lot of vowels in that sentence.
Yeah,
But all right,
All right,
Anthony, falls to
you
you.
get to pick draft order. So who goes first, who goes last, and then as soon as you say it, we'll announce what the draft order is, what the draft is.
Let's go. All right, Spence, you want to go first?
I'm gonna go last.
Well, then why would you go?
All right, Joe, me, Nico, Spence.
Joe.
Okay. Oh, Anthony, Nico, and Adelaide.
All right. So, gentlemen, people, what you guys will be drafting today? Should we call this the alphabet draft? Is that something that we should refer to it as? Okay, so what we want you to do is think of movies that you happen to love, that maybe not everyone has seen, or maybe more people need to see it, or people need to revisit it or something. Don't just pick the okay, but everyone's got to pick based on a letter of the alphabet. So I'm guessing A and T are going to go first because articles count. So if you want to pick The Godfather, T's gone. You can't pick it for G.
Oh.
All right? Does that make it some sort of sense?
Yes.
But once a letter is gone, nobody else can pick a movie that starts with that letter.
So you're doing 6 rounds, so
Okay.
each of you do 4 letters, so that's 24 letters until then 2 left. Me and Peggy will fill out.
Wow.
Somehow we'll figure it out. So yeah. So say someone drafts a movie beginning with the letter B. Nobody else can draft a movie beginning with the letter B.
Oh, all right. I guess I need my whiteboard here then to pay
Yeah.
attention to the letters that are gone.
Innovation.
Became more important.
I
Are you
think Tony's
telling-
got some sort of graphic where he's gonna start like losing the letters or something, keeping track of it.
Yeah, I'll do it on the. I've got it set for on the draft board, so it's all fine there. So,
All right. So
yeah, so-
be strategic in your letter selection because once that letter's gone,
Uh,
all the options of that letter are
So-
gone.
Also, 2 things. First one is please. Here's the thing. Everyone knows Alien is a good film. Please, for the love of Christ, don't pick that for A because it's basic.
Yes. Try to like just something that you love that maybe is like a little bit under the radar.
And
You want
then-
to talk up. And
I don't know. I have a track record of picking pretty populous films.
I was about to say, Nico, you are the worst person to pick for this.
So bad. I mean, I don't watch
Yeah,
the,
this-
the mainstream. I've never dug underneath the surface.
No, never.
It's all right. He's gonna take the X, the U, the letters I've never even heard of a movie from. He'll be like, "Yeah, I got those."
I already have 1 U in my brain, so
And just quickly, 2 last things.
Not
One,
true.
we're not. I want to do this as a rule, but how Peggy shut me down because she's sensible and I'm not. If you want to try and spell a word,
I'm
get
like,
brownie
that's
points from
asking
me.
too much. Because like once the
Need a
vowels are
vowel.
gone, it makes it really hard.
Shit.
and then for last thing for people in the chat. So what I'll say is that here's the thing. I bet everyone in the chats, well, they already started. People starting Keith Turbo Kid, and all
Yeah.
that stuff. Why don't you try it? Here, Go on Letterboxd, Twitter, on the Facebook page. There's 26. While the show's going on, why don't you try and make your list of 26?
Or as people pick letters throughout, I would have picked this movie for that letter, but make sure you comment at least and give them some feedback on their selections. But is everyone kind of on board with the concept?
Yes.
You don't have any questions?
So just to make sure with the whole Godfather thing, right? So Godfather counts as a T, not a G.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Once
articles.
T and A, that's going to cut out a lot of
Godfather
movies.
3, the new one, the director's cut. I picked that one.
articles count, and also just numbers. If numbers, it'll be the first letter off the number. So
Got it.
All right, so might as well get the show on the road. You got the pick of the litter, Joe. You're on the clock for the first overall pick in the No Prep Challenge Alphabet Draft.
Pull Garth's comment up because that's what I was going with. T is for Turbo Kid, baby.
Really? That's
for
what
Turbo
you're
Kid.
starting. That's what
That
you're
was-
taking of all the T's.
He
All
has a
the-
T though. It fucks us.
I am taking Turbo Kid. It is a movie, and because you said go with underrated films that people need to see.
Yeah.
Turbo Kid is a movie that you need to see. It stars Monroe Chambers as a guy going through this wasteland who he just has this power glove, yes, like a Nintendo power glove, and he's fighting against evil robots in a wasteland. It is fun. It is campy. The sequel needs to come out already. The sequel was announced in 2016. 5 years later, all we have is an announcement that the sequel is in work. But if you have not gotten the chance to see Turbo Kid, definitely go check it out. It is sharply written. The comedy is there. And Monroe Chambers actually proves that he's much more than just the teenage drama actor that people thought he was from Degrassi.
All right. Bill Cariola would be very proud of this
I was
number
just
one.
about to say, have we ever seen Bill and Joe in the same room at the same time?
Yes, we have.
Quick clarification from me and probably Nico as well.
Mhm.
If we're going for an international film, are we going by their American title or their international title?
Your call, Tony.
We will go by the title, the more prominent title. So
Okay.
Huh. Okay.
And then that's
Oh,
fair.
that makes sense.
All right. So, Turbo Kid, to much to Bill's dismay, I have yet to watch this one. Has anyone on the panel seen it other than Joe?
It is definitely on my list because of the amount of times Bill has mentioned this movie.
Yep.
Such a good movie.
100% not the T I would have picked of all the movies that have a T in it.
Right.
But we're going for underrated movies that people need to watch. And it also was a strategy. It also was a strategy. I wanted to get rid of anything that started with the word "the."
No, he made a good pick.
No, you did. Just now. Just looking
No,
around.
Just
Oh, my
a
bad.
little bit better.
I knew if I didn't, someone was either going to pick The Godfather or one of the Lord of the Rings movies.
Oh God, no.
That's
That
not
would
how
be-
this works, but you did take a T from me, which I'm bad at.
All right.
I
So,
will say quickly, Turbo Kid is actually a really fantastic watch if you haven't seen it. I know, and it has become a joke on this channel because Bill Garriola loves it so much. But it legitimately is. It's one of those dumb fun films with just like it captures everything that was good about 80s action and stuff like that and adventure films, and it has some really interesting like works around just like, oh yeah, this movie had no money to make this, but it still works.
and you are getting some compliments on the movie in the chat. Jake gave it a thumbs up. Garth did. But all right, T is off the board. Sorry about that. Anthony, you're up next. What you got?
Like the movie I want to pick because I'm obviously looking around me
Yeah.
because they're all labeled. But there's one movie. Maybe we were on a walk today. We listed like an old Schmodown match, and a quote came up from this movie, and it is one of my absolute favorite movies. I don't know if it's underrated. It is decently well known, but it's campy as hell. It is a decent horror movie, and I can quote this entire thing from front to back and love every second of it. And you can't hate Bruce Campbell. So for A, I am going Army of Darkness because
Okay.
this movie is a straight up gem. A lot of people might not have this, but I love it. I love this movie with everything I have, and it's great.
All right, so I am 0 for 2 on seeing movies being drafted this episode. So I leave
You
it to
can
the
make it
panel.
through Army of Darkness. It's not scary. It's campy fun.
But I leave it to you to discuss because I got to tap out of this one.
fun fact, in the second ever Ontel match, Anthony picked this, and I said, okay, time to break the trend, and I marathoned all 3 Evil Dead films in 2 days. Army of Darkness, far and away the best one. It is funny, it is gory. I actually enjoy the characters, even though you think you'd sort of be empty aside from Ash. I love the ending and the alternative ending that come on the DVD. I think it's one of the better horror comedies. There are obviously some that I prefer, but it's not. This is a great pick.
Jake, hey, I was told Aliens was being a basic bitch, not this. So I avoided the basic bitch, and I went not pumpkin spice latte, but like a chai latte. I kind of went that big.
Oh, you and Joe can fight it for the big picks. Me and Nico are going to be fighting for last place in this poll.
I'm not even going for the poll. I just love this freaking movie.
I was gonna say, I picked the movie that I just
You have one vote, Joe.
All right.
Which is fine by me. I think it's fun.
Right? Yeah. Never be concerned about the poll. Shush.
Army of Darkness probably is my least favorite of the Evil Dead trilogy, but I say that because I love the first one with an absolute passion. I think that is the best one by Country Mile. The second one is fine, and the Army of Darkness is very good for what it is. But I think the other two are just better as just because of the horror aspect of it a bit better more.
Oh, there's no horror aspect of Darkness, really. Barely. Yeah,
and I say this as the biggest coward in the history of the universe. Somehow the horror in Evil Dead I like.
It is weird.
I know.
Huh.
Interesting. All right. So Anthony takes A off of the board. Interesting. The ones that I thought were going to be the ones that clear the most movies off are the first 2 out the gate. Go figure. Nico, your turn, pal.
Yeah. Well, considering the last movie I picked on this show was highly, highly controversial, that has no relevance to what I'm picking. I just thought I'd say that because it's fun.
Oh God, I remembered what you picked now.
Yay! This film is also kind of a cult classic, but definitely one that is, to I don't know, coin a phrase, more easily digestible, in a sense. But it is an art house film, and it's one that's maybe for our times, considering that we're all kind of boxed in, and we're all kind of strangers to one another in a sense. I'm going with Jim Jarmusch's Stranger Than Paradise.
Okay.
Yes. Stranger Than Paradise is one of those movies that kind of was formative for me as a filmmaker and a film lover, where I had seen Jarmusch films, but this was the one that cemented me as a fan of his work. I know he's not for everybody. He's definitely carved out his own niche. Stranger Than Paradise was kind of his breakthrough in terms of the indie scene. It kind of helped to establish independent cinema in the 1980s, that kind of new era coming out of, the kind of now Jaws, Star Wars-led blockbuster mentality. This to me is the film that kind of set the groundwork for Richard Linklater and Spike Lee and that boom of the 90s. It starts kind of with Stranger Than Paradise. You can't, the plot is so simple that it's immensely relatable. It's a quotable movie. It's funny. It's in its own way heartbreaking. The style of the filmmaking is fascinating, where Jarmusch just locks down the camera and he just observes and he just lets these characters play out their lives, and it goes across, certain parts of the United States. It is such an interesting film to talk about and to discuss, but it really is a film that you have to watch. And so maybe it's, if like Pink Flamingos is the more sort of outrageous independent cult cinema, this is the more sort of like chill, you just kind of lay in bed, watch it, and think about your own feelings, but have a great time while doing that. And Jarmusch is maybe one of the kind of filmmakers of that kind of mentality.
Nice. Huh. Gotta say, I'm 0 for 3. I haven't seen this one. This is not going well for me being able to contribute to the panel.
I'm out on this one. I got nothing. I knew that 2 people here are going to pick picks that are a lot smarter than me, so there's a little chance I've probably heard of them.
If Adam Collins would hear, he'd love your pick. Probably any of us have seen it, unfortunately.
I've heard such good things about Stranger Than Paradise. I don't know why I've just not gotten into Jarmusch yet. He's one of those directors where I'm just like, okay, I need to sit down and actually give him a fair shake of the stick, because I'm just like because it's just, and like as you mentioned, like he's like the precursor to people like Linklater, Spike Lee, and all them. So it's not like he's got a bad track record.
No.
Also, just quickly watch it. is on HBO Max for anyone who has
Ah.
seen it.
Yeah, Criterion Channel. It's not even his weirdest movie. I would say arguably it's probably one of his most accessible because Dead Man is. You've seen Dead Man. That's a weird movie. It's great too, but Stranger Than Paradise is a bit more palatable.
Good to know.
All
I
right.
like Caro's pick. That's a
Ah.
good one.
I mean,
Just quickly, because Nico kept mentioning the word cult during that, and I'm a shameless whore, if nothing else.
Ah.
So, multiple choice Maelstrom this month. It's the cult classic Carnage. That's what the
Wow.
question's all about. Cult classic films. So it's last Saturday of the month, 5 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. GMT. We are going to have special guest co-host on that is Adam Collins. Him off Schmodown. And also,
Few of you might be aware of him.
he's done a few things. But yeah, so the way it works, it's all done by Kahoot, so anyone can play. It's fastest fingers first type format. All a ton of fun, and these are going to be weird films. But hopefully, if you've not seen them, hopefully you will. Just doing it. Also, one last thing before we let go as well. Thank you very much to Melissa Woody, who made not only that amazing graphic, but also the graphic for this week's episode of the show.
she made that.
Made it. That's awesome. That looks so cool.
Yeah,
cool.
Great.
I want that
Yeah.
like in back here.
Yeah, I want that. Like, I want to hang out on the wall. It's fucking.
She sent me. I was just like,
Talk to her about commissions, you know.
Yeah. You'll be hearing from me, Melissa.
Woody, Melissa Woody. All right, so T, A, and S is off the board. Spence, what will be the next letter?
So I do want to say, Patrick, Shiva Baby's great. That's a great S pick. However, I'm going to finish the word here. We're going to make Task, If You Were. I'm going to pick one of my favorite films about some dudes in college who happen to kill someone, and also they're pretentious poets. I'm going to pick the 2013 film Kill Your Darlings. I champion it constantly, and for those of you who don't know, it's about a group of college students who become like massive beat poets who sort of meet together. A couple of them end up falling in love, and then there's also a murder that happened along the way. For me, that's the selling point, but overall, I just love the film. It's sort of like this insight into, like, I was really into poetry in high school, so seeing these poets that I learned about and seeing who they were when they were younger is great. On top of that, like, there's an amazing cast: Daniel Radcliffe, Jane DeHaan, Michael C. Hall, Elizabeth Olsen, a dude who I'm forgetting. Like, this is, for me, this is one of my go-to recommendations. It's almost like impossible to find, but if you want like a cool like coming of age film that you haven't really heard of, but you know everyone in it, this is I would tell you to go watch this.
Oh,
for 4.
well, I'm 50% right now, and a shocking turn of events. Only the only ones I've seen are, well, actually no, the only one I've seen is mine. Shit, I haven't seen it. This isn't ideal.
I've seen 2.
All right.
Ours.
Yeah. I was like, wait, no, I haven't seen yours.
I'm not going to help you out in the future. Like, I'm going to keep
Realize
going.
the
Like,
letters we have spelled out task. Are we putting weird sort of code? Are we spelling it? What
next
task?
one. What's the next word?
Is like some
We'll
Manchurian
find out because
Why
yeah.
not?
well, just quick.
Good.
I've heard nothing but great things about Killing Your Darlings. It's one of those ones, and as he said, the cast is ridiculous. So you have got Radcliffe, you got Dick Frost as well, Ben Foster, Michael C. Hall, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Elizabeth Olsen. Just like, it's just this weird, like, it just caught like this weird mixture of so many wonderful actors for a director that's not really done anything since.
No.
So,
I mean,
before or after. Like,
And nothing since either.
yeah,
it's
the only
no
thing you
Kindergarten Cop, but I'm sure it's good.
Oh my god. Fucking Anthony, be pretentious. Come on, join the dark side.
You know I'm not. Ooh, Klaus. Thank you, Tony.
Great movie.
I'll thank you every time that comes up. And that's also a great movie.
Cuffs. That would be my K movie. Kuffs.
Awesome. Ooh, I had a better kid. Damn. I had one.
No, I'd have to think on it. I don't think it would be cups, but that'd be funny.
Anyone else on Kill Your Darlings before we move on to the end of round 1?
Don't know it.
Nope, I think it's time for the recap for those who joined us late, Tony.
Absolutely. So
And it might be strange for you guys.
Yeah.
So for this, so what I've done, the ABCs of movies to see, so the way it's working. So Joe kicked off first. He took T for Turbo Kid. Anthony went A for Army of Darkness. Nika went S for Stranger from Paradise, and Adelaide went for K for Kill Your Darlings. So just in case anyone joined us, so once Adelaide is picked, no one else can pick it for the entire rest of the thing. So that's going to be interesting when we get to rounds 5 and 6.
Oh God,
Mm-hmm.
I'm already making a list.
It'll definitely be interesting. But Spence, you are up once again. What is your next selection?
So, you want to hear me horribly pitch a movie? 1 second.
Oh God,
Sorry.
here comes something I don't want to say. Oh
This is another one of my go-to, like, if you want like a weird out there film that you've never heard of, this is it. What have I told you? In 2015, a German filmmaker made basically Borat starring Hitler.
Yes!
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
I am picking Look Who's Back, which I'm going to count as L, although in German it's ist wieder da. So, long story short, Hitler didn't kill himself in World War II after or whatever. He just appeared in modern times, and he walks in basically around Germany, and everyone thinks he is a committed character actor. It's like, oh, this guy's great. He acts and looks exactly like Hitler. And then he gets a talk show. And then the film slowly evolves into this criticism of modern media and how people like him can start spreading these fascist, ultra-conservative narratives in media, because initially it is treated as a joke, and then it's treated seriously, then they establish a following. I think it is a great social commentary on top of the fact that, again, with this being the Borat element, he goes out in public and meets actual Germans and starts pitching his rhetoric, and they said, yeah, I'd vote for you if you ran for election in whatever position of power. And on top of that, it also has this great narrative of another person working at the news station, like, no, this guy is genuinely bad, and no one really believing in him. This is such a layered and textured film that I feel like no one really acknowledges exists, and I'm hoping one day it gets like a wider version of release on Criterion or something like that, because this is something I think is great for like critical analysis, but also just a really genuinely engaging film.
All right, you actually did sell me, and I've heard about this. I actually have wanted to see this. I was like, this is actually a really interesting type movie, and I keep forgetting what it was called. So you might need to send me that a message later to be like, hey, this is the one. Look this up, because I will forget this title within 10 minutes.
I thought it was Look Who's Talking for the longest time until I sat down and watched it.
I'm 0 for 5 so far. This is unprecedented.
At this point, I'm actually just trying to get you to go like 0 for 24. I mean, that's actually just be impressive.
We shall see.
But yeah,
maybe I'll just act like I'd never seen them.
There you go.
Stop giving people study material.
I know you have a terrible poker face.
She does.
It's abysmal.
Look Who's Back is absolutely phenomenal. It's one of those ones where if you've not the premise sounds so ridiculous and offensive, but somehow not only do they manage it to do it in a way that actually really works well and has a really beautiful point to it as well, but it's just like everything about it just fires on all cylinders. So when you watch stuff like, I watched An American Pickle the other week, and it was just like, I watched that one, it was just like, oh yeah, you're just trying to do Look Who's Back, but you just got someone that's old and Jewish instead of Hitler. It's like, it feels like there's a lot of films that have been trying to copy what they've done, just like, and just no one can really do it.
Oh, you know what? And the guy who played Hitler is in the third Fantastic Beasts film as the head of International Confederation of Wizards. So something to look forward to if you want to research for that dog shit film. Watch a good movie.
Boom.
All right then. Okay, so L off the board for Look Who's Back. Nico, you are up, and I apologize. I am going to pop out real quick because I got a dog whining in the background, and she's going to keep on doing it until I take her outside. But I'll be back as soon as I can.
Hey, no problem. I just saw someone touting hero in the chat, and I just want to hug that person. Sorry. Hero. I love that film.
I'll be back, guys.
Well, I guess I'll go while she's tending to her canine companion. I'm going to take a very coveted letter off the board with a very, very simple title, Z. Costa Conference's Z.
That works.
Kind of keeping on the political route, Z is the political thriller that helped to shape the political thriller in the 1970s. It is a fascinating construction and deconstruction of a political crime that really gets at the heart of the mass systems that are involved in politics, and just a fabulous critique of structures and institutions and how these people are not your friend. And if it sounds like a bummer, it is. But it's also a really, it's kind of fun in its own way because you see the crime happen and then you see them try to break it down because you're not sure exactly what happened. Things are fractured. Things are, the editing is phenomenal. The cinematography is phenomenal. The acting is great. It's just a great film all across the board. And really you can see the French Connection in it. Definitely. You can see a lot of those kind of docu-drama films that pop up that use documentary filmmaking in Z. It had a massive influence on genres that followed, and the effects are still filtered. And without spoiling anything, it's one of the greatest endings in film history. I mean, it will floor you by the end. It's just I can't recommend it enough.
I've heard nothing but great things about this film, but it's just I just need to sit down and watch it at some point and just get over the fact that it's just like, oh yeah, it's a French film from the 60s.
Yeah,
you can't go wrong with films from the 60s.
I was about to say,
it's on
like,
Hulu too. Like it's on Hulu if you get the chance. And it's like I can't even sell it better than how Nico sold it. It is a phenomenal film. Had I been able to pick up Z would have been my choice too. So
that's probably a more classy and a more elegant pick than Zoolander that I probably would have went with for Z. I like Toby said, he has heard nothing but good things. I have heard nothing until this moment about this film. It sounds great though, and I am intrigued. You are going to make me watch a lot of movies that are well beyond my range of what I normally watch. So not a bad thing. I need to learn some culture at some point. So I'll go for it.
But I have to ask you, but why male models?
But I just told you.
Okay.
All right. Perfect. All right. Sure.
just quickly, as we wait for Adelaide and Peggy to come back, the film that I picked when I was doing my list was for Z was Zero Effect. It's a weird Ben Stiller one from '98, but it's just like it's done by Jake Kasdan, who does the Jumanji films. It's one of those ones where it's just like if you want to see Ben Stiller at one of his finest roles, this one is just never gets talked about, but he's so good at it.
If you are curious what Christina would have picked, it would have been Zach and Miri Make a Porno.
That makes sense.
She's a big fan of that. Also
a classy choice.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously. So
my alternate Z is Zero Dark 30, which is another great uplifting political film.
Exactly. That's all we're about. Is uplifting political dramas.
Yeah. We have a lot of class in this household. I'm sure you're noticing from the choices I can possibly give you.
Oh well, depending on what letter gets to me, you'll see real class in a minute.
All right, Anthony, you're up now. Second pick. So
I'll talk about you if I want to talk about you. What? You come?
No.
All right. Anyway, okay. I'll go ahead and pick, and I will try not to be a basic bitch as. Oh, your head is in the background of the screen right now. Wave. Yeah, you're in the corner.
I'm getting a movie for later, everyone. Hey.
Hi.
We already used the letter S, so I cannot pick that movie. Anyway, I'm going to take one from the letter H. And I don't think this movie is well known, even though it has a fantastic star in it in Steve Coogan. And I don't know if you appreciate Shakespeare, but if you really want to appreciate Shakespeare, you need a time-traveling Hamlet. And you need Hamlet 2 with Steve Coogan. It is a comedy musical, which Steve Coogan creates Hamlet 2, which has a time-traveling Hamlet to create a happy ending. And this movie is hilarious. He does a great job in it. You do get a random David Arquette in there. Everybody is funny. He's, it's one of those classic, he's the drama teacher trying to inspire kids to act. But there are so many good things in this movie. The whole ending scene of actually seeing Hamlet 2 is hilarious. And the musical aspects of it are pretty solid too. And you get Elizabeth Shue as Elizabeth Shue.
That is a choice.
You motherfucker. I was sitting on H so I could get Hedwig and the Angry Inch, and you just took it out from under me for fucking Hamlet too.
Hey, I was called basic in the first one. You know what I got here? I got weird random movies that I enjoy that are in this scattered array of disaster behind me. So That's what you're gonna get.
Went from basic bitch to just a bitch. Good for you.
Damn.
Oh. Do you have your H now? No? Huh, sucks to suck.
You picked a musical. You fucking. You're stealing two things from me.
If you haven't seen this movie, you would really enjoy it because I know you like Steve Coogan.
I do love Steve. I have seen this film. It is absolutely incredible. It's one of Steve Coogan is a weird comedic actor in the fact that, especially over here, he's known primarily as his character Alan Partridge. So it's almost impossible for him to ever really get out of that mold of just like, oh yeah, you're Alan Partridge playing a radio host now, which actually was Alan Partridge's character. But it's like, you're just Alan Partridge doing this now. This is one of the only films where he's ever able to fully push away, just like, oh yeah, I'm actually doing this whole new thing now, and it's so well done, and everything about that film just works so perfectly. And it's done by Andrew Fleming, who also did another Steve Coogan film called Instant Family, Ideal Home, which a lot of people should see. It's a very good LGBTQ plus movie.
Interesting.
But anyone else seen Hamlet 2?
I've seen the pivotal musical number of Hamlet 2, which now is going to be stuck in my head for the next 2 weeks. So thank you.
You're welcome. I'm gonna rewatch that too. That's true. We would not. 3 days later.
Yeah. But see, Anthony, would you watch that, or do you want to watch like Borat Hitler? Like watch something new, you know?
I mean, I will. But I do want to watch Hamlet 2 again. That's an odd one.
Oh, I love.
These are all a lot more classy than what I picked. So pretty much par for the course. Like it.
Hey, Zoolander has Bowie in it. Hey man, no shame.
Always gotta love Bowie. I'm sorry, I've just got a few seconds to think about David Bowie. All right, I'm done.
All right,
let's move on. All right, Joe, so your second round pick this round.
Well, you guys have put me in an interesting pick because now I get to take 2 vowels off the board. Thank everyone for that. So the first vowel I'll be taking is I, and I am picking a 2005 film by a brilliant, very underrated director by the name of Kaveh Zahedi. I am picking his 2005 magnum opus, I Am a Sex Addict.
Wow. Great. Hey man, I think the title says it all.
I got to work with Kaveh on a different project, and so then he was talking through his filmography. This movie is semi-autobiographical, and it talks about how his character, also Kaveh, is going into his 3rd marriage and is kind of exploring his past relationships and stuff, and the fact that he has an obsession with having sex with prostitutes, and it talks about how it's deteriorating around all of his relationships is the fact that he has like this just compulsion to have sex with and it's shot very documentary style where there's kind of a through line through it, but it's very semi-autobiographical, and it very much blurs the line. And that's the whole thing, is after working with him, I was like, I'm not sure if this is a documentary or a narrative film. Like, that's how Kaveh is as a person. If you get a chance, it's available on iTunes and Apple Movies. You do have to pay for it, but it is a very interesting watch that I do highly recommend people watching to kind of see very unique filmmakers take on blending narrative and non-narrative movies together.
All right.
Thank you for ruining my Google searches.
Just put movie after it.
Get real weird soon.
Just put movie after it.
That's actually I did. Are you looking for Denial?
Are you looking for Ashley Madison?
I don't think this is the first time that you brought this film up. It does seem very interesting.
I have not brought it up in Fantasy Film Fights, but I have brought it up in a call with you because you were just like, does anyone have any like really weird film suggestions? I was like, I Am a Sex Addict is a really weird film you should check out.
Huh. It was definitely. I had an eye on my list, and you took it away. I don't hate the one. The one I had was fine, but it wasn't I Am a Sex Addict. I know that.
Indian Summer. That's what I would pick.
Yeah. I think. Wait, Peggy, you still over?
I missed a couple. Well, Rory's got the runs, guys. That's why I did thing. Yeah, so that's why she was pointing at me to go out. But I missed. I got Spence is second. Look who's back. I missed Nico and I missed yours, Anthony.
We'll do the rundown for the
Yeah.
in a second, but just quickly, a few from the people in the chat.
Let's
go on.
Lewin Davis. I saw the devil. I Daniel Blake would have been one, but
Oh, that's a great movie. I also saw In a Lonely Place, and I love that movie. Yeah.
I would have went with Ingrid Goes West.
Oh,
That's
Intolerance
also a
is
good
also-
choice.
Oh, I love Intolerance.
I can't remember what I picked from when I did my list. Let me.
Chat's got some great picks.
It Follows though would have also been a good eye pick as well.
The one I picked
Oh, yeah.
when I did my list, Invictus, the Morgan
Oh.
Freeman, Clint Eastwood film.
That makes sense.
It's one that just never gets talked about, but it's very good. But here we go. So I'm scared to say the title of Joe's pick, but we'll do the rundown now from
Don't
round
clip
2.
this out of context.
Yeah, exactly my thought. Just like, so why didn't I get that job interview? Well, there was a clip online.
Everyone, turn off your Alexas. They don't want to hear this.
Too late. I'm already getting Facebook ads.
All right, so for round 2, Adelaide went versus round. They went for Look Who's Back, and Nico went for Z or Z, was depending on where you are in the world. Anthony went for Hamlet 2, and Joe.
Pick a movie. Pick a movie.
Joe went for I am a sex addict.
I'm pretty
I
sure
am
I'm
a
0 for
sex
8.
addict.
0 for 8.
I'm a sugar addict. How hard is that?
Yeah.
Hey.
All right, into round 3. Joe, back to you.
I'm going with a film that I got the pleasure of seeing on my first weekend of college, so it really resonated with me because I was in a new environment, and much like it was my first weekend at college, this film takes place over the first weekend at a college. So I am going with Everybody Wants to.
Yeah. Fuck.
Right.
It is one of my favorite Linklater films. Also a director I got to meet because he's friends with Kaveh. So we got to talk a little bit about this film, and just really down-to-earth guy. And this is one of the films where it is very realistic in terms of what kind of like the first weekend on a college campus is, at least in my experience, because it was very much like that, where everyone was trying to figure out like what to do, where to go to parties, if they didn't have that. But then you have the sports guys who already had their built-in stuff, but you could see some of them trying to break away and going and doing different stuff. So it was just very interesting to see the dynamic of a first college weekend play out over the course of a movie, and then compare it to the parallels that was going on in my life at the time.
1 for 9.
There we go.
Yes.
You bring up the link letter. Peggy's going to see it.
Yeah. Well, I've seen it. I love this movie too. This began my obsession with Glenn Powell and his character of Finn.
Oddly enough, we talked about this guy today.
She's not feeling well. She needs to cuddle.
Oh,
right now.
Lord. No, this is a great movie. I mean, there's nothing I can say about that. It's just a good pick. It's a good movie, and you took an E, so luckily you didn't take the vowel I was hoping you weren't going to take. So appreciate that.
Oh, and those of you out there who are fans of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Wyatt Russell is in this one and playing a very different character than he does in that series.
He's the best character in the movie, though.
Wyatt Russell kills it in this movie.
Yeah, Willoughby is great.
I sort of hate this movie, by the way.
How?
I will say, I hate movies without a plot. Like, that's just my own thing.
You hate in the life of type. Yeah, you've said that.
But at the same time, it's also like a bunch of college dudes playing baseball, smoking weed, and going to parties. Like, it's entirely not a me movie whatsoever.
I was about to say that does sound a lot like your.
That is a me movie to the T, though.
Oh yeah.
I will say that is an interesting
parties, weed, not baseball though.
I think that's what kind of separates this movie from other films of its ilk, is that Linklater focuses on the jocks, and I find that to be a really fascinating perspective, because we always get films about like the outcasts. No, what if we like went into, the sort of mainstream kind of clique and find out their dynamics? And Linklater, of course, treats that with the kind of respect that he typically gives his characters.
Yeah, it's very respectful, and it even shows that sometimes even they don't feel like they belong within their own clique that they're supposed to belong to.
Mm-hmm.
And any film that has the Cars and Devo in their soundtrack is an automatic A, and also like Van Halen, automatic A in my book.
As well as as well as like speaking to the complexities of the character. I do think it's really interesting. Blake Jenner's character, like he starts off like again like not really vibing with the misogynism of the rest of his team and putting efforts into spending time with. I'm forgetting her name, but Beverly. Yeah, and like she's also like a really interesting character, and seeing her party at the end is great. But also just like the scene at the punk club, we're like, wait, is this a Gilligan's Island theme? And like no one knows it, and they're just rocking out because like have like that to me like that's great. But everything like them hanging out, smoking weed, or like playing baseball is just not for me.
I'm thinking I'm wrong now with her name.
You should give both a try. They're quite relaxing activities.
They are.
Preferably when they're done at the same time.
Yeah,
That might be interesting.
Oh, and Tony, you need to add 2 exclamation points to the title because there are exclamation points.
Okay.
Yeah, there's 2 of them.
It is Beverly. I was right. Okay, good. Yay.
Super exciting.
But no,
I need to watch.
Okay, what I was going to say is I love the fact that I consider this a sports movie that it follows a baseball team. There's very little baseball in the movie. It's more about their downtime and them bonding as a team and everything. And just that little, like, that link letter's so great at just catching those little tiny moments between different characters and just the nuances of that. Yeah, and every rewatch, I catch like a little something different with like a dynamic between some of the characters, and he's great with that. So, love this movie, love this pick, and yeah, I finally seen one.
Hey, me too.
All right, cool. Tony, were you gonna say something? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's fine. I was just gonna make a joke about for
My choices would make an interesting movie title right now. Turbo Kid, I Am a Sex Addict, Everybody Wants Some, is a movie in itself.
Those comments someone made.
Song?
Any punctuation towards the end of the sentence.
Yeah. Now we just have to create another sentence with your next word.
So Joe's done. He has no more picks left.
No, mine is just a line from a movie. If someone can write a movie that has the line where someone shouts, Turbo Kid, I am a sex addict, everybody wants some.
I'm pretty sure that's.
I'm on it. I'm on it.
James.
That'll be your mission on Anthony's show next time.
That'll be Nico's post-credit scene in his film. Just wait for it.
Yeah, it's just some random guy going, I'm a Turbo Kid. I'm a sex addict. Everybody wants them. Random guy will return in 2022.
There you go.
All right. Over to Anthony for.
I know I'm not getting a job.
I just want to quickly say, if anyone can find me a movie that starts with the movie. I'm trying to get my teeth in. If anyone can give me a movie that starts with the word game or ends with the movie events, I would fucking love this as a double feature for FPMT. Just because I want to have to make people write down events transpiring before, during, and after high school basketball game.
Got one. Got one. I'll send you privately so it doesn't ruin anything anyone watches. Don't worry. All right.
But
Yeah. We'll do that.
Anthony, you're up. Third round pick. What you got?
Sorry, I forgot. I thought I spaced out when I was doing. Okay. I will pick another vowel, so I will not ruin too many of the big letters here. And I'm going to go a very different way from what my first 2 choices were, because this is a movie me and my friend in college saw for the first time, and we're just blown away by it, because I do enjoy a good martial arts movie. I enjoy seeing someone show a lot of athletic talent without wires, without anything like that. And this was a guy I never heard of until I saw this movie. And he was in Furious 7. He does a couple other movies, but his name is Tony Jaa, and he did a movie called Ong Bak, the Muay Thai Warrior, and it is bad ass. The stuff he can do in this movie with no wires, with him doing his own stunts, old school Jackie Chan style, is incredible. The plot is just kind of there, but it works for what they need to do. But the fight scenes are excellent. The stunts that he's able to do is there. And I really enjoy this movie, and I'm trying to go away from the basic. I want, like you said, something maybe people haven't heard of. So I'm going with that. Ong Bak, Muay Thai Warrior is my O pick. Oh.
1 for 10.
Maybe I'll get there, Peggy. Maybe I'll get there for 1 for you.
All right. Well, yeah. Jake's seen it in the chat. That's good. Anyone in the panel? Have you guys seen this one? No. Ah.
It's awesome.
I'm looking at it now. It does look.
I do like Muay Thai Warrior. That's like, ooh. Tell me more. What is
Yeah.
the multi-warrior?
I feel that that's like the Karate Kid sequel that never happened.
I mean, the amount of times you watch this guy like just elbow poor dudes in the head is incredible. He's just wham, game over, wham, game over, and it's great. Watch it, give it a shot.
You took the best O pick. Oh,
I should have just taken O.
yeah, Mackay Pfeiffer is great. Like,
It seems very interesting. I'll give it a watch. Like, so just out of curiosity, what is it that makes this stand out towards other martial art films? Do you feel?
I feel like this one just stood out to me because I watched a lot of the Jackie Chans back in the day. I watched like the Bruce Lee movies, and they were all very good. They were all impressive. They're all doing their own stunts, but this was just kind of a new name showing up, and it was kind of he came about while I was in college. More is when I first heard the movie, so I was like, oh, cool. Somebody a little new, somebody I haven't heard of. And watching it for the first time, I was like, oh, that's awesome. This guy's kicking ass. Because the Jackie Chan, the Bruce Lee, they're older. The movies are still done a little older style. So this, to me, just added an extra element to it that I found really, really intriguing. And then I watched the other two, and then the two protectors that he has. And, pretty much everything he has is sitting back there at the moment. But this is the best one.
Yeah, I got nothing to contribute. All right.
One Cut of the Dead.
One Cut of the Dead is fantastic. Once as well, one of the greatest films of all time.
Huh.
But,
I don't know what I picked for. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna have to go through and figure out a movie for each letter and post a list on the poll later.
that's a good list. Yeah.
Sure.
But, all right, so O is off the board. Anthony spelled Aho so far.
I didn't even try to do that.
Nico, add on to your sizz.
Well, let's add an M to that. I'm going to tout a film and really kind of tout the filmography of a filmmaker that has recently really gotten her due. The incomparable Elaine May with Mikey and Nikki. Mikey and Nikki is a film, the third film she made in only 4 films that she ever got to direct, 4 proper films. Elaine May came out of the Nichols and May. Of course, Mike Nichols going on to direct, who's Virginia Woolf and The Graduate. And she decided to take a crack at directing, and this was her third effort. Stars Peter Falk, John Cassavetes. And it is just, again, my picks are kind of depressing, but hey, maybe this is what I meant. But Mikey and Nikki is one of the greatest films about male friendship, specifically male friendship. She handles it with such grace and care about these guys that are fundamentally broken and how they are childhood friends that have grown up. They're now embedded into the mafia, but they're not even like, Godfather. We think of the Godfather and the mafia and these higher ups. These guys, especially Cassavetes' Nicky is such like, you almost want to call him a lowlife. He's not even like a grunt. He's a guy who owes money, and the whole movie is him paranoid out of his mind that he's going to get killed. And Mikey, played by Peter Falk, has to sort of come to his aid, but is he really, by his side? And it just creates this great sort of urbane. Again, that kind of documentary, almost kind of like the films that Cassavetes made, but with that Elaine May touch. And at the same time, you have a great year for Ned Beatty, 1976. Ned Beatty, the guy who has been contracted to take out Nikki, driving around the city, attempting to find this guy who is not probably the toughest guy to follow. It really sort of deconstructs the mafia film in a way that predates something like Goodfellas, and Elaine May sort of got to that in her way that is wry and sardonic, but there's a lot of heart to it, where you see these really broken men. She's really interested in broken men, but doesn't sort of cast a lot of judgment and resolves things in a way that is so. When you're finished with it, you're like emotionally exhausted because she's run the gambit, and you have seen people like Mikey and Nikki, even if you've never been in the mafia, but just the sort of fundamental truths that she gets at are just so raw that by the end you really just have to sit back and just take account of your own self. And Mikey and Nikki it went through the ringer. She had to like apparently hide the negatives. The stories that she possibly hid the negatives with like a gun under her pillow. Peter Falk apparently hid the negatives. She really wanted this movie to, and really all of her films, to represent her and herself. And she kind of kept getting messed with, and Ishtar, sort of landed her in quote unquote movie jail, even though she disputed that. There's a long history with her, and she may be making another movie soon. She's still with us, thank God. And she is just one of the great talents that is now getting her due. And Mikey and Nikki, you can't really go wrong with it. It's just such a phenomenal movie of three great actors with if you put Ned Beatty in there, with the talents of Elaine May. It is such a great movie. Watch it when you're in a great mood. It may bring it down, but you'll probably become hopefully a better person by the end of it, or at least gain some new understanding about yourself. It really speaks to the power of film, in my opinion. And Elaine May overall is just such a great person that I admire as an artist and as a person.
I can't tell if listening to you talk is making me smarter or just making me feel dumber.
Well,
I haven't decided yet, but I definitely have some work to do on the movies you're picking, because that sounds all. I mean, it sounds depressing, but it does sound like a good movie. I'm very intrigued now.
I would just want to say, if you are interested in Elaine May, Blank Check just recently did her filmography, which was a fantastic listen. Sadly, this is the only of her films I couldn't see because it's just not available in the UK. Love for the money, unless I think it was like I had to pay like $80 for a secondhand DVD to be imported. It's like I'm good.
Nah, Jesus.
Yeah, no, Heartbreak Kid, which I really love as well, does not have like a proper home release at all. It's like you have to pay $70 for a DVD, but luckily it's on YouTube. Not in the best quality, but it's still there to watch, and I highly recommend it. Now that films are slowly becoming more accessible, now that this kind of renewed interest has happened in her work as a director.
Also there's such an interesting story to tell from her perspective as well, just because of just like she was part of this one of the most famous double acts of the 60s and 70s in Nichols, and just seeing his career go off and her career just go down the pan, and just like her basically stuck to being, oh yeah, I write the movies that you direct because sexism. It's a shame, but yeah,
it really there's a lot of intersecting paths within the film industry just in her story, and if I agree that Blank Check series is great. And if you want a dive into her, definitely look that up. Look up anything about her. Look up interviews. She is funny as hell. Just won a Tony. She's just one of the great screenwriters. Warren Beatty, brought her in for Heaven Can Wait. She was a script doctor on Tootsie. A talent that I am in constant awe of, and just someone, again, I aspire to be as an artist. I just love her and hope she gets to make that fabled fifth film. Like, please let her make a movie, Hollywood, please.
Yeah, I gotta say I was not very familiar with her in Nichols and May. I think the first time I ever heard them referred to was in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Like they didn't even have anyone playing the characters; they were just referred to in a scene. But I'm intrigued. I'm probably gonna check out that movie for sure. So M is off the board.
There goes my Nick Cage movie that I was gonna pick for M.
Nice.
Not Money Plane.
Nick,
you don't want to change your answer to Money Plane?
You can get Ghost Rider.
Mom and Dad's better. I still have a few in the books. Don't worry. There's plenty.
All right, Spence, your turn. The third round pick.
Peggy, I'm going to help you out here. I'm picking a 90s movie.
Okay.
Hopefully it helps. Okay. So fun fact. I wanted to write my original senior thesis on propaganda in America. And in it, I said, there's a great film about propaganda that I've never really seen before. And I figured, sure, why the hell not watch it? It is 1997, I believe. Wag the Dog.
Oh, okay.
Ooh. It is one of my all-time favorite films. I think the actual idea of propaganda is absolutely fascinating. And beyond that, seeing the actual machine run its course of how do you create something, doesn't matter if it's real or not, how many people have to go along with it, who ends up getting caught in the crossfire and to do bad things happen to them as they create this massive lie that no one really knows the truth or even to the extent of how it impacts different people around the world. And everyone in this is phenomenal. Dustin Hoffman gave me one of my favorite performances of his as this sleazy, egotistical filmmaker who is trying to help spin this story. I think all around, this is one of one of those forgotten films of the 90s. Like, I would put this and Quiz Show next to each other of just like, it was great at the time, everyone loved it, and then everyone just fucking forgot about it for some reason. Because the 90s are a great decade, and this is one of the ones I think you need to go back and check out again. Because if you forgot about it, don't. This should stick in your mind for a long, long time. Because again, I like political films apparently, and I think this adds a lot to the modern discourse.
I'm pretty much on board with anything Dustin Hoffman does.
Oh, yeah.
Ever since Rain Man, I've always had a special place in my heart for him.
I've heard nothing but great things about this film. I've just never gotten around to watching it.
Same. I've heard of it. I've never really been intrigued by it because I'm not as into the political propaganda as you are. But I mean, I feel like this is something I would like. Dustin Hoffman is good.
It's been a hot minute since I've seen it, but I have seen it. He used to play on like TNT all the time back in the day.
I can't tell if you're upset with the fact I don't like political propaganda movies.
No.
Your next movie, I get working on
Patrick
it.
just stumped me because I want to change my next pick.
Uh-oh.
Ooh, that's a good one. Joe and Jonathan with the What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Another one that I love.
Yeah. No Willy's Wonderland. I'm gonna pick a Nick Cage movie for every letter that's done for the rest of it.
Well, see, why didn't I just pick Moonstruck if everyone's just going to go with Nicolas Cage films?
There we are.
And it's gone. You should have. But
yeah.
Well, Mikey and Nikki's also great, and I want to tout Elaine May, so it's my pick.
Hey, I get it. And something I haven't seen, so I'll watch it.
Check it out.
Should we have like parentheses, like everyone pick like a letter, like say M, you pick Mikey and Nikki, and then you put in parentheses Moonstruck, like what your Nick Cage pick would have been.
I want to see on the post later, just like see how many Anthony can do for every letter.
Yes, Anthony. You have to put together a Nick Cage list and put it on the poll later.
Is there a Z Cage film?
Is he a voice in?
There could be. He's in so many movies.
He's in a lot. I've gone through that pretty often. I don't think so, but maybe. I'll do some research. I'll research this. Don't worry. This will be up later for everyone who wants the Nick Cage references.
All right, cool. And round 3, Tony, over to you.
Absolutely. All right. So for round 3, so Joe went first. Everybody wants Anthony went for Ong Bak, the Multi Warrior. Nico went for Mikey and Nikki. Ali went for Wag the Dog. So just quickly for anyone that's just joined us, the No Prep Challenge this week is the ABCs of movies to see. So the way it works is that once a letter is picked, they cannot pick it anymore. And also articles are in play. So if the movie is The Godfather, you can't do Godfather with G, it's cast as T. So
Joe is actually spelling the word now.
And because Joe went for Turbo Kid, that means there's no T's left.
Yeah.
Joe's gonna spell tied up for his I am a sex addict.
I have one word for everyone here. Xandalee. Nicolas Cage was in a movie called
There it is. You're right.
There we go.
Got it. It's on Amazon Prime in America.
That's the Anthony's watching tonight.
You're welcome, everyone. My work here is done. I'm out.
All right.
Round 4, Spence, what's your selection?
So I'm going to stick to my original plan. So literally what happened is I have 2 great 2010s lesbian dramas that start with the letter P. Unfortunately, I can't I'm not going to pick Portrait Lady on Fire because I want to stick to like the smaller, obscure films. Mm-hmm. And this went around a few months ago on Twitter of just like, oh my God, look at this, because they were talking about like history of comic books, I think. Professor Marston, the Wonder Woman, is a fantastic movie about the creation of the character of Wonder Woman, and also how that ties into the creator's sexual fantasies and his lifestyle, and also being one of the larger figures just in the history of, or against modern history, within polygamy, and how it's him and his wife, and they find a girlfriend, and how all of their relationships sort of like coalesce, not only into creating one of the most iconic fictional characters of all time, but also impacting their community around them. And how somehow, and then again, this is a big message in a lot of queer filmmaking about how, what about the way we live our life is affecting you guys, and then basically how they are shunned from their community just by living about who they are.
That's a great pick. I can't even. I'm a little upset because I had a P that I was ready for that Drew was going to love, and I know he just mentioned it in the chat because I was set. But that's a really good movie. It was very interesting to see like how the Wonder Woman like situation came about and all of that. So I want to be that, and also you missed Popstar Never Stop, Never Stopping. But
I'm going for obscure, you fucker.
Okay.
That's a good pick. I can't argue that. That's a really good movie.
2 for 13.
Sorry.
I got some work
Yeah.
cut out.
Halfway through the alphabet, and you've seen 2 films.
I watch a lot of the mainstream stuff, y'all.
B is on the board. Bring it on. Let's come on, have some fun with this.
I mean, other than mine, I'm at
The obscure gem. Bring it on.
Yeah, no one's seen that one.
I've not seen Professor Marston yet. I do want to watch it, but is it true that the guy that invented Wonder Woman also invented the Lie Machine?
I
yes,
think so. Yeah.
yes.
So I just thought that might be a part of the plot. I was just like,
No, he invented the machine, and that was kind of. He did both. There's a
From
lot.
my understanding,
lot
like, what happened is he created it and like basically got him a grant, and he was a college professor. And as a professor, that's what it was. Yeah, so he was a professor, and through it, he actually the mistress, I guess, if you were of the marriage, was a former student of his, and that's how they met. And then they started creating as like sort of a fiction. I think sidebar. He created this character. Yeah, I could be wrong though.
No, you're pretty. I think that's pretty right. But
yeah, Spence.
damn you.
Holy Technique is severely overrated. Portrait is much better.
I really have to think of my own list later. Now see how many you guys have seen out of my list, and it'll probably be like 2 out of 13, whatever.
Yep.
You probably maybe watch like 5. I'll give 5.
Set the over under at 5. All right, challenge accepted.
Yes.
All right, cool. Anybody else want to comment on Professor? Was it? I can't even read my own writing. Marston. Okay, that's what it says. Going once, going twice. All right, never mind.
Oh.
Nico.
Yes, it's my turn.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, we're just having a lot of fun here. Well, I've been sort of thinking about my next pick, sort of what films I want to tout, and I'm going to go with another female filmmaker. And this film is pretty significant culturally. It's Julie Dash's Daughters of the Dust. This is a film that has the distinction of not being the first film directed by an African American woman, but the first film by an African American woman to receive wide distribution. It's a film that chronicles Gullah culture in around the Carolinas and Georgia. It's kind of a hard film to describe from a plot standpoint. It's very atmospheric, but really delves into the generational divides between African Americans and the culture that they, has been brought over from continents to the United States, and sort of what happens when these 3 separate generations come together, and the problems that can come about, and the issues that can come about. It's almost hard for me to kind of talk about in that sense, but as a film, it really is almost, again, an experience. It is one of those, like, you're overwhelmed by it. Even if you don't understand everything, you're just left with this sense. Yeah, it's also a beautiful movie. It's just one of those great, you all of a sudden a piece of the world is unlocked because you watch this film. A piece of the world that you probably never thought of before, and it really speaks to the power of film to break down boundaries and expose you to not just great talents, but also the stories that those talents are willing to put out. And this film just is almost a paradigm of that, and I can't recommend it enough. It's such a great watch. It might not be for everybody, but if you're willing to sit with it and just take it as it comes, it really is a rewarding watch, and I absolutely love it.
I am going to watch every movie you put on here, but I'm going to need to be in some emotional headspace to be prepared for all these. When I am, I will let you know how I think of each of these. But
okay.
But I'm intrigued. You always keep me intrigued, but I've never heard of it.
Right.
I've actually seen this one.
Great.
However, it falls in the camp of its plotless, so I'm not a big fan of it. So I wish I could contribute more. That being said, you sniped D, and I was waiting because I had the perfect thing. I think I had a perfect movie for Anthony, and now I can't talk about it, and I'm upset.
Is it a Nick Cage movie?
No, it is Dude Bro Party Massacre 3, which is not a sequel. They just call it that, and it's fucking rad. And I've been pitching it to Bill for Unearthed for months. It is one of the greatest horror comedies. Greg Sestero or some fucking. I'm not gonna steal the time from, but like, Daughters of Dust is one of the most like influential and like landmark films of the '90s, and I recommend everyone check it out. It's not for me, but it's a piece of history even, and I think it's worth checking out. And it was only like really touted as that in the last couple of years, and you should keep that momentum going because it's really important.
Yeah, it's also the National Film Registry, so it's being preserved and it has that honor. So
yes,
nice.
I'm so shocked by it was 91, and it's the first film to be seriously released by directed by
1990 was it 1991, I believe.
Yeah.
Widely distributed. I mean, that just speaks to a lot of things.
America sucks.
Insane.
It does. I should also say, if you've seen the Beyonce album Lemonade, the video that she did for that, it does a lot. It takes a lot of homage from this.
Oh, interesting. Oh, Joe just brought up Dancer in the Dark. That movie broke me.
It's fucking rad.
Oh my god,
so good.
And also, just for Bill's sake, the D movie for Nicolas Cage would be Deadfall.
Yeah,
But,
I'd have to go defending your life for damn sure.
I want to binge. Like, Patrick is pitching Adele Hernell like as a marathon so well. I really want to do it.
Can't wait for this list to come out. There's so many movies I want to see.
Trying to say, don't. I'm sitting in my head. I say,
Number
don't
one
say
on
Nico
everyone's
took the
list of
D.
movies they want to see from today's episode is, of course, I Am a Sex Addict.
I might put that one on the back burner for career reasons.
I will say, Joe, I do have one film about sex addiction in my back pocket, so I'm waiting for you to take that from me as well.
Just like, today's the Joe exposes himself hour.
No, he doesn't.
Not on camera. Not on camera.
All right, Anthony, your next pick. Anthony,
Okay, my next pick. All right. Well, so before we have that happen, that needs to stop. All right. I have a letter. I have two picks here. It's very difficult because I really enjoy both these movies, but due to the fact that I am a little bit of I want to help Tony here, and I'm going to help my wife a little bit here because there is, with digesting cinema podcasts, there's a Digesting the Force podcast as well. And this movie with an F has a lot to do with Star Wars. And even though I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, this movie cracked me up. It has a fantastic cast. It has a really nice, genuine plot filled with humor, filled with heart. And what I'm going for is fanboys. Yeah. Basically, this movie is a bunch of Star Wars nerds want their friend who is dying to go see The Phantom Menace before it comes out because he is not going to make the premiere. It is a really good story with friends that really care about each other. And it has great cameos. You get cameos from a bunch of Star Trek people. You get cameos from Star Wars people. You have a fight with Trekkies, with Seth Rogen as the leader of the Trekkies. It's hilarious. And this movie just has a lot of great moments in it. So it's just, I'm going to do that just because I'm going to show the, digesting stuff, even though Free Fire was my second choice and was right there because that's a great movie. But I'm going to go with Fanboys just to, because that's what I do. Tony lets me on this, and I'll pitch a couple of the things we got going on as well.
Thank you.
Gotcha.
You win my vote for helping me shameless whore.
Yes, that was my plan.
So just we Digesting the Force release every Friday. Next episode this coming Friday is The Empire Strikes Back with Jake Berlin from a certain point of view.
Watch Christina break him.
Yeah.
I wish. Is there video?
No.
But the sounds are plenty.
I was trying to get her to do like a live reaction, like videotape her reaction. She's like, such a mistake.
That goes on the FPP Patreon for $5 a month.
Yeah. I'll release the video for coffee.com/feature presentation. If people want to donate to that, I might have a look at the video recordings and I'll use the money that you pay for there to protect myself from Aaron and Christina.
I'm familiar with this movie, but sadly I have not yet seen it, so I'm still 2 for 15.
Well, fun fact about me, my favorite film of all time is the original Star Wars. So this film is a huge love letter to that. I guess the better side of that community. I remember when they were kind of touting this movie around like a decade or so ago and being excited for it. Oh, they're making a movie about people like me, and so you know, it's fun to see it, and of course having Carrie Fisher in it is great, and all the cameos. You know, it's not the best of movies, but it is very heartfelt and appreciative of that culture. And yeah, I mean, it's always great to get good kind of nerd fan, you know, have that put in a positive light for once, for the positive you can do, because there's a lot of bad things, and obviously that should be noted, but there is a good side to it. Like everything, there is a light and a dark side. So
There you go.
So, just quickly, it's free on YouTube in the States.
Give it a shot. It's fun.
Fuck the rest of the world.
I mean, that's what we do in
That's
America.
kind of our motto,
That's pretty much.
unfortunately.
Sorry.
No, all good. All right, so fanboys, an F is off the board. Joe, close that round 4 for us.
I am going to go with Battle Royale from 2000. It is one of my favorite just gory action films. How I got into it was obviously when the Hunger Games was coming out, internet discourse around it became a lot of, I've read Hunger Games. It seems very similar to 1999's Battle Royale. So I read the book Battle Royale, and then I was heard about the movie, watched the movie, and it was just a bloody, gory express. And it is just one of the things where if you like films that explore what a totalitarian government will do to its own citizens, Battle Royale is right up there, because much like Hunger Games, they put literal children on an island and say, you have to kill each other, and only one of you is getting out of here alive. And they pick a class each year, and they just are just like, go at it. And alliances are forged. There are people who are pacifistic in it, and it's kind of it shows what happens when the government is telling you what to do, and it's life or death. Yes, exactly. That is correctly. Jake puts it money. If you like Hunger Games, watch Battle Royale, and you'll just be like, why did I ever like Hunger Games? Battle Royale is a much better movie.
This movie's badass. This movie's awesome.
I really like Hunger Games.
How do you do?
Yeah, Battle Royale is better.
Right, I got to go with that. I really enjoy this. I looked over there and I saw it, and I was like, ooh, maybe I'll use that for B. And then I was like, maybe I'll use basketball. And then I was like, I'm just going to avoid B altogether. So I'm glad you took this. But this movie's awesome. It really did kind of start the Hunger Games phenomenon, basically. It feels like, but it's good. It's fun. It's crazy, but good choice.
Can we use the time to shit on Basketball, one of the worst comedies of the 90s?
Wow, Adelaide's internet just dropped.
Oh, yeah, that's weird.
That's weird.
Wow. Yeah, that's tough.
I still need to see Battle Royale. I don't know why. It's just one of those films where it's just like, oh, yeah, children killing themselves. Maybe
They
I
don't
won't
kill
watch it.
themselves, they kill each other. There's a difference. If you have access to Pluto TV, it is free on Pluto TV, but there will be ads throughout it because that is Pluto TV's gimmick.
I think Pluto TV is actually free for everybody, if I'm thinking of the right service. So, like, no excuse not to watch it.
Yeah.
I'll wait until they do a remake of it with starring one of the one of the kids from Zack and Sweet
One
Love
of the
Zack and
Sprouse
Cody.
twins?
Yeah, they're the names. That was a
That's
joke
just
I was gonna
Riverdale
make.
season 20. Like, once they get exhausted, they'll just fuck it, Battle Royale.
Listen. The Sprouse Tents.
Yeah.
Cool guys. That's all I have to say about it. Cool guys.
Yeah, so sorry I couldn't contribute to that one again. But it's not swings and misses for me on this one. Let's see, Anthony. Oh wait, no,
Oh,
Anthony,
being
you're
there.
not up because we just reached the end of round 4.
Yeah.
All right,
nice.
so here we go. So let's do a quick recap of round 4 as
Yeah.
we move on. So because there's only 4 of them, we're doing 6 rounds. So everyone's got 2 more picks to go, and then the final 2 films me and Peggy will pick. So Adelaide went first this round, and they went with Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman. Negan went with Daughters of the Dust. Anthony went for a similar film in the same feel of like very like female oriented and all that jazz in Fanboys. And Joe keeping with the women empowerment Battle Royale with cheese.
Well
There
said.
you go.
All right, round 5. Joe, you up again. What you got?
I completely forgot I had that. What do I have for R?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
It's a big one.
All right.
Taking more away from everybody.
That's
Is it the
tough
Rock?
to check.
Oh no, that's a T. Oh,
Yep.
You know what? I think I have to do it. You have to do it on Fantasy Film Fights.
Oh.
Oh no!
I have to pick Rocky.
Oh my
I have
god. Rocky 2?
Because nobody's seen that one.
I mean, if you say Rocky
But you
5,
have to.
really
You
nobody
always
has
do
seen that
Rocky.
one.
No,
All
but
right.
that's a joke. But I am going with Return to Oz.
Oh gosh.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
If you want The Wizard of Oz, but super dark, and this is canonically the sequel to 1939's The Wizard of Oz. This is the canonical sequel to it. So it is dark, it is twisted, it is a wild ride from start to finish. The entire plot is about Belinda the chicken. It's about a chicken. It's about a chicken and a troll king trying to get the chicken, and Dorothy's back in Oz, but her friends aren't there because they've been captured. It is very interesting. It's interesting, it's dark, it's weird. If you watch 1939's The Wizard of Oz and then watch the Disney sequel to 1939's The Wizard of Oz, yes, Return to Oz is a Disney movie. It's just a trip. It is a mind trip. If you have the chance to watch it high, and you'll just be like, what the is going on?
I'm a
Wizard of Oz show.
Hey, this is a choice. I mean, this is. I haven't watched it all the way through. I watched bits and pieces. I'm like, what is happening here? But hey, I got nothing. Spencer, right in the chat. That movie's ridiculously good.
Hell yeah.
But I don't have much else. I don't have too much to say about Return to Oz other than the fact I don't know what they were thinking when they made that sequel. But they're like, man, The Wizard of Oz, that was too nice. Let's scare some.
Exactly. And this is what's even worse is it's Disney who thought that. It is Disney.
It was also Disney in the 80s, and they weren't making good decisions no matter what.
Truth.
My brother Robbie recently asked for this one for his birthday, and I actually bought it for him.
It is an interesting watch if you get your chance to like watch it and then like realize like, oh crap, like canonically this is still this is still canon to the movies that have come out in the Wizard of Oz lore. Like it's the Wizard of 1939's The Wizard of Oz and Return to Oz are the only two Oz films that are canon.
All right.
Cool.
You mean Oz the Great and Powerful is a canon prequel?
It is not a canon prequel.
Underrated movie.
I mean,
It's not
my
that bad.
favorite fact about Return to Oz is that it was directed by Walter Murch, the great film editor.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, he edited Apocalypse Now. Have you heard of him?
Yeah, like he's a fantastic editor. Let's keep him in the editing bay, maybe.
Hey man, The Wheelers. I mean, that movie scarred a lot of kids, and that's something to be said. I mean,
I think when he directs
how many
movies,
films can exhibit so much trauma in so many children in that film. Where it's like, direct shock therapy, kids.
Yeah. When he directs films, I think he has one mission in mind, which is how far can I go to traumatize kids without getting angry parents groups writing me letters?
Well,
You know what?
you gotta have a goal in life.
Traumatizing kids is in the Disney tradition. I mean, all the great, Golden Age Disney films traumatize you in some way.
I mean, Bambi exists. The greatest.
Bambi,
film of all time.
Pinocchio, Fantasia. I mean, Fantasia has literally Satan in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I
parade
don't
of
like
ghosts.
talking about Fantasia, especially in front of Spence, since they shouted at me for calling it potential swank.
Fantasia is one of the greatest pieces of art ever created. So
It's absolute potential swank. It's the most potential swank in the history of the universe. It is literally just Walt Disney just going, look how great I am.
And
he was great. So, I ain't wrong.
All right, before we get too far down the rabbit hole, so Art is taking Joe takes. Joe takes Return to Oz, so we move on to Anthony.
All right. I'm going to continue going with things that are out there after the first one. I just had to get my favorite one out. But a lot of people like to make fun of me for not knowing directors. And I'm pretty sure there is a running joke right now that people don't think I know there are more than 3 female directors ever in the history of cinema. I'm aware of this. So I am actually going to pick a horror anthology movie which has 4 movies of all female directors. And it is just simply called XX. This is 4 really well done short horror movies, all female directors, but all of them have really good scares. They have really good like thriller elements to it. They have really good slow burn in a lot of them. Like you really don't know what's going to happen. But I like the horror anthology movies. I picked this up just out of pure curiosity and found out that I was like, oh, cool. You know, got it. See the directors. One of them was the one that directed Jennifer's Body. Someone knows the name of this.
Karen Kusama.
Thank you. And then there are 3 others that I don't remember the names of at the moment, but I can tell you anything. So, but I'm going to go with that. I'm going to do something a little outside the box, maybe something that people haven't heard of or people may not have realized was a thing, because horror anthologies kind of are a dime a dozen nowadays. But this one was a really good one, and it kind of gives you a little something different.
Okay, so just quickly, the other directors for that, it's Karen Kusama, as mentioned, Roxanne Benjamin, who also did VHS. Annie Clark, also known as Saint Vincent, the musician. And Jovanka Vucanic.
Saint Vincent, a great S film starring Bill Murray, and one of the better performances from Melissa McCarthy.
Agreed.
3 for 18.
Yeah, I knew you weren't getting that one.
Nope. I'm not seeing it.
Showing up on your list.
Anyone seen this out of curiosity or?
Nah.
Nope.
If you're a horror fan, give it a shot. It's quick, it's simple, but it's good.
No, Jake, no Xanadu. Sorry, buddy.
No, that's a no.
Sadly, Bill's not
Well,
here.
I'm glad you took X off the board for the final 2 letters. That we
I'm
gotta
being
see.
nice. All right, I know what's happening towards the end. You're being a good
stuck.
Appreciate that. All right, cool. Well, no, since no one's really seen it, we will press on and go over to Nico for his 5th round pick.
So I wanted to go way, way back to the early years of cinema, and I was looking through what films I've seen, and 2 stuck out to me, and I wasn't sure which one to pick, and even then I'm sort of circling through. But one I think I'm going to land on because I guess my pick so far, you know, one of them has featured a very headstrong filmmaker, and I wanted to pick maybe the granddaddy of all headstrong filmmakers, one Eric von Stroheim and his film Greed from 1924. Greed is... God, it's one of those films that if you can find it, it's like 4 hours long. The cut that supposedly von Stroheim wanted people to see lasted way longer, probably close to 12 hours. He had to significantly cut it down and then cut it down again. So there are maybe 2 or 3 versions out there. I've personally seen the 4-hour cut version. And I know that sounds really bad, like, oh, a 4-hour long silent film where some of the images are just stills. But the story that he crafts of Greed, I mean, it's right there in the title, Greed, is so, I mean, he actually pioneers a lot of techniques that people would take for granted. He actually shot on location for a big budget film. I mean, this is 1924. We're going into the golden age of Hollywood, where studio sets are becoming the norm. He's shooting on location. He's shooting out in the desert. He's shooting in this sort of room that he rented out for a dentist's office, and pioneering a lot of techniques and just being ambitious as hell. And it sort of got him kicked out of Hollywood and led him over to being an actor in Europe with films like Le Grand Illusion with Jean Renoir. Of course, came back, was in Sunset Boulevard. Greed sort of stands as his towering achievement, and it is a towering achievement in film. It's probably the great Lost film, if you want to call it Lost. But even the version right now at 4 hours is such a testament to his genius as a filmmaker. It's such a great story, and also, you know, kind of a downer of a movie. But it's a ride for sure, and it's one that is well worth it if you're willing to be to have a movie that doesn't have any dialogue in it in the traditional sense and is, in quote unquote black and white. And again, with the stills, I mean, that might be sort of putting people off, but really, if you give it a shot, it's well worth it. And it is just something that once you've seen it, it stays with you. And I absolutely love this film.
There are versions available on YouTube now. There's some mobile ones, so if you need to pick and choose the one that will fit you the best.
Someone else want to go first this time because
You took Galaxy Quest from me. I was gonna make Peggy happy with that, but you picked.
I'm a Galaxy.
I was going to go with Grave of the Fireflies, but Greed is also a really good choice.
Ooh, great! Yeah, that's another great upper movie for sure.
Yeah,
Grave of the Fireflies is the best uplifting movie that everyone will watch Grave of the Fireflies right now.
Hey kids, it's an animated movie.
It's an animated movie, so it's definitely for kids.
Family. Oh.
Have you watched Kiki Delivery Service? It's made by the same people that made that.
Made for Totoro, but imagine it's set during World War II.
You guys
are
are
the family.
You guys really got me going for this one. Nico, you had me for a while, but a 4-hour black and white style movie with still frames is probably not gonna hit, especially when it was supposed to be 12 hours. I have things to do occasionally.
It is a very interesting.
You got the 4 for 5 though.
So here, Anthony, rather than watching that, what if you watch the 12-minute black and white PowerPoint movie, which is touted as one of the greatest edited films of all time, La Jetée, which is utter dog shit.
I'll watch it if it's 12 minutes. I'll give it a chance.
It's real short, but it's also a PowerPoint.
So for Jay, we should all agree that we're going to pick Joe the musical. It's the musical I made.
I can just take Jay from you right now.
Yeah, my G was going to be Daniel Radcliffe's Guns Akimbo because that's actually a lot of fun and really just.
It's like, wait,
that movie's like right up your alley.
I think the Silent Greed, but one thing I do appreciate is that you make me feel dumb, but it doesn't take a lot. But your picks are impressive.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, haven't heard of one of them.
No, same. I'm right in your boat right now.
I gotta start studying harder. Damn it.
This will never come up. Don't worry.
I was about to say, unless Nico gets the job writing for the Schmodown, I don't think we're gonna be seeing any 1924.
If anyone asks you who directed 1924's Greed, you throw them out a window. It's only fair.
PJ,
like you find where PJ Campbell lives and you go knock on his door.
I now want to get Nico to write a movie trivia match and just give it to like the most
hard pass.
biggest like franchise lovers ever, just to see the reaction of just like.
Ooh,
I'm sorry, what?
I'll do it. Sure.
Adam Collins,
What the fuck is this
Aaron
movie?
J, Joseph Olivas, Anthony Tisdall.
Oh, come on! Don't make
Yes.
this zero.
So we're gonna have 3 people who are going to score decent.
And
then Anthony's
gonna
gonna
have
be
a
just like
blank face every time. Just
Well, the plot twist: if Anthony gets a point, the match is over and he wins.
yeah. If Anthony even scores 1 point, everyone has to say that he's the best for a year.
all right, now, man.
You are the greatest trivia player / genius, and you get a little crown.
No crowns.
Yeah, I don't know what is up with you guys and like the loving of crowns and stuff. But anyways, all right. So Nico takes Greed. Spence, you get to close out round 5. What you got?
So I want to be fair here. I had 4 left, and then Anthony took X. So now I have 5. So Joe and Nico, because Anthony just fucked off. Do you guys want J, C, or N?
None of those were letters that I wanted, so go. You can take either.
What were
of
the
them.
picks?
J, C, N.
JCN are the letters that he's okay giving up to any of them.
You know what? N, because gotta represent.
Okay. All right. Cool. So, damn, I wanted N. Sorry. So I will start with.
Why ask? Let's do it.
Pick your movie.
Okay, I'm sorry, Nico. So I joked Joe was going to take my sex addiction film from me. He's not, because I got it now. For N, I am picking Nymphomaniac Volume 1.
I'm sorry. Lars von Trier.
We got Lars von Trier on the list. It's here.
Come on.
At least he didn't pick the one where he's literally like promoting fascism.
Volume 2 is one of the. So if I was on the show, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, I would pick Nymphomaniac Volume 2 as one of the worst endings ever. I think it's horrendous. Volume 1, I think sex addiction is such an interesting topic to discuss about like this drive of how much will you sacrifice to seek pleasure, and seeing how this whole woman's life has basically been built around sex and sacrifices she's made to get to it is genuinely engaging. I enjoy Von Trier as a director. He hit it out of the park like 4 of the 5 times I saw it. One of them was Volume 2, and it's horseshit. And I think Charlotte Gainsbourg gives an absolutely phenomenal performance, and also the younger actress whose name I forget. She's phenomenal. It has an amazing supporting cast. I think this is such a rich film towards adding a piece of discussion to the conversation that we don't really talk about, because sex addiction is something people don't really take seriously. And beyond that, it's I would say one of Von Trier's more digestible films. He has his style is very what's the word? It's a lot small. It's a lot less this time. It's very easy to watch. Not for content. It's really hard for a lot of people. That being said, if you can take in films of this ilk, I think it's a great time.
3 for 20.
I've already had to watch. I've never really cared to watch a Lars von Trier movie, and I've been forced to watch 2 of them. One broke me, like mentally and emotionally, and the other one was just garbage. So I kind of think I'm out for a little bit, and this one this one seems insane.
You know what's weird? I mean, this is kind of a weird opinion, but for me, Lars von Trier is kind of almost weirdly a comforting filmmaker for me. I watch like Melancholy and like Breaking the Waves, and like I'm like emotionally wrecked, but I'm like, yeah, the world's pretty fucked, and that's okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Spencer on this one. Nico, did you?
Melancholia is depressing as fuck, and it's also
it is, but it's like almost like this big warm hug where it's like, hey, everyone's gonna die together eventually. That's our commonality, is that we're all gonna die, and you're like, thanks, Lars, I really needed that.
Yo, Nico and Aaron J need to like have a.
Yes.
You're losing a teammate pretty soon with Nico's opinions.
Oh, damn!
You gotta get on an episode of Digesting Cinema. One of the topics that's coming up.
Also, Antichrist might have one of the greatest openings to any film. If you haven't seen Antichrist, but that opening, man. Oof.
It also has naked Willem Dafoe. So what's there to lose?
And naked Willem Dafoe. That's true.
Okay, I know what I'm watching.
And in slow-mo and black and white with opera. Though, unfortunately, it is not his member when you see it in close-up. That is a double, unfortunately.
Apparently, if I've heard the story right, Willem Dafoe's dick is too big.
Yeah.
It's unnaturally big.
It is confusingly big.
That is the story, and they're sticking to it. Like, that is the story. Is it would be unmistakably his penis you would be seeing if they had used it.
Well, because it has that gap tooth smile as well at the end of it. Like, there it is.
Ow.
Have Nico on every week. Fuck it, why not?
Oh my god, what's happening?
The end of round 5 is what's happening, and Tony's about to recap.
Oh boy!
Just quickly, the young actress you were talking about, Stacey Martin.
Yes, she is. I think she's also in Antichrist, actually.
Let me double check, but she's in High Rise and All the Money in the World. She's not in Antichrist.
Oh, I thought she was another Von Trier film. Either way, she's phenomenal. One of the better young actress performances. I think she was like 15 at the time. Could be wrong though.
Think so? Yeah, she played him like from 1990, so she would have been about 15, 20. Yeah. 20 when that time. All right, so that was penultimate round. So 6 letters left for people to choose from. So we'll bring up this list now for your wherever it is. There it is.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, so Joe went first this round. He went with Return to Oz, and then the rest of this round's list very standard and similar, very big blockbustery films like classic children's stuff. So Anthony went for the horror anthology XX. Nico went with the silent 1924 film Greed. And Adelaide went for Lars von Trier's Nymphomaniac Volume 1. Once again, all feel-good family films.
Yeah.
Nice. This is a chaotic list of stuff. Jess. Absolutely.
If anyone watches all 26 of these movies that we decide for the A to Z, they deserve some sort of prize.
Therapy.
Yeah, they're going to need it. The prizes we
don't need therapy after I.
I don't even know what's happening anymore.
Right.
So just quickly, the letters that we have left. So we got C, J, Q, U, V, and Y. C, J, Q, U, V, Y.
I got something for most.
Yeah. I'll say so. Anthony, I'll leave C on the board for you. For like C as in Nick Cage. So you do with that what you will.
Just pick Cannibal Holocaust and get it over with.
I might go something different than you would expect.
Rather than Cannibal Holocaust, I'll pick something that is equally as terrifying. Christians in the mid-2000s. I'm picking Jesus Camp, one of my absolute favorite documentaries. Ooh. I know Tony likes this. I'm getting brownie points a little bit. For y'all who don't know, I'm not exactly the most religious person. I grew up in a very religious area, and this was one of those breaking points to me. It was like, maybe this isn't for me. And I think the film is actually directed really well because it doesn't really take a stance about it all. It's like not quite the same thing, but it's like Boy State, which came out last year, was just like it presents its subjects very frankly and says, do not go off of how we think of them because we're not going to show you how you think of them. Just simply form yourself. And it is simply about people who send their kids to a religious camp and how, at least from my perspective, how they indoctrinate them and how some of the extremities of Christianity are used against these children. But at the same time, you could also watch it as like, oh my God, these kids are learning great values of Christianity and praising Bill Clinton as like God's savior for us and burning Harry Potter books because we don't want the witch speaking to us. I think there's so much rich topics to discuss here about how Christianity affects different people around the world and people of different ages. And even then there's also interviews with the kids. So you see how it hits all of them differently. And even there's post interviews, which came out like 10 and 20 years later since the film came out, about how their ideologies have evolved since then. Some of them have decried Christianity. Some of them have gone further into it. I think this is a lot of the films I picked today, I think, are great discussion pieces. I think this is something which educates you on Christianity in America if you aren't really familiar with it.
Huh.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fascinating documentary. Like, it's one of those documentaries like that can't always get tarnished by the fact that it's like, oh, this is very much in its time period, which this film is. It is very mid-2000s, but it still holds up really well as just being able to like, oh, this is a time capsule, but also it explains a lot of what we're dealing with today.
I've not seen this. It actually does sound like an interesting documentary. I'm not a documentary person, I will say, but I'm always down.
It's a scene in the movie. They're literally like crying and praying to a cardboard cutout of him at the church, like literally saying he is the speaker of God and that he saved America.
I watched this for a documentary filmmaking class as one of the styles of documentary filmmaking. It was the style that Spence was talking about, which is just presenting your subject as it is, not putting your beliefs or your take on the subject into the scope of the film. And it does that job very well of just presenting it, because even my class itself was very split on of what were they trying to say, that Christian camps are bad for the children or are they good for the children? There were so many different takes because they just presented it as it is. So you really took away from the film what you felt the film was trying to say to you as a watcher, which is very hard for a documentary to pull off, and it pulls it off very well.
Interesting.
All right.
Yeah, it was like, all right, I've got nothing to add to that conversation. Once again, I feel like I'm so not contributing to this episode, and for that I apologize. But it's your guys' fault for picking movies I've not seen.
I mean, that my scene wouldn't have helped either.
At this point, it's just enjoyable to see, like, oh, well, 3 for 20 now.
Right?
Almost a secondary game. Like, can I pick one Peggy hasn't seen?
That might be Jacob. I might be confusing my presidents, but it's one of the president at the time was the one I just am remembering. Sure. I'm not remembering it very well.
It was Bush because it was mid-2000s.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
W.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. Oh, cool. So, Spence, your squad is complete. Nico, time to complete yours.
Sure. Well, looking at what I have left, there's a lot of great picks, and I wanted to pick a film from a very, very famous filmmaker, but maybe one of his films that's sort of underseen, not because it isn't great, because in any other person's filmography, it would be their best movie, but because it was sandwiched between two of the greatest films ever. Actually, I realized I can't pick this one because it starts with the letter T. So you know what?
No.
I know, I forgot about that. So I'm going to pick another. Oh boy.
What was the movie?
The Conversation.
It was gonna be The Conversation.
Ah.
It was gonna be The Conversation. So I'm going to go with another one. I'm going to stick with America. I'm actually gonna kind of go out on a controversial note. I'm going to pick a film from a filmmaker that I think is great, but has been mired in a lot of controversy lately. But you can't sort of knock him as a filmmaker. I'm going to go with Crimes and Misdemeanors by Woody Allen. Regardless of what you think of him as a person, he as a filmmaker is, in my opinion, one of the most astute writers and directors in all of cinema history. He really gets at the heart of relationships, really gets at the heart of what makes people tick in the most kind of, I don't know, like really brings out their negative sides, really brings out their quirks in ways that are also deeply relatable. He's willing to go to these places in religion, in sex, in society, and bring it about in ways that are really, really palatable. And Crimes and Misdemeanors is a film that may be his most darkest, but also really funny. It's a really, really funny film. And it maybe exemplifies that great balance he hits between comedy and drama, where you have these two parallel storylines with his character and Walter Matthau, and they're sort of, not Walter Matthau.
Martin Landau.
Martin Landau, thank you so much. I'm so sorry. Martin Landau, please. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I'm a little tired. Thank you so much. But his character goes through this plot that's almost noirish, where he's like, I want to kill my wife. And Woody Allen, on the other hand, his character is trying to get with this woman who Alan Alda's trying to court. So you have all these characters kind of coming together that do converge by the end into an ending that is, again, kind of depressing. It's not the most affirming of his films, but it does speak to those inherent truths that have made him, again, regardless of his personal life, has made him just one of the great voices in contemporary cinema, so to speak. If we're talking about 60s going forward, to me, Crimes and Misdemeanors is almost hitting the apex of it all. It's partly surreal, partly heartwarming, partly really introspective. It really hits on all these notes and hits it all really, really perfectly.
Yeah. 3 for 21, 22, 3 for 22.
Yeah. I will say, fun fact, I almost picked a Woody Allen for my C. I was looking at Cafe Society because I've been meaning to actually, like, his like 70s through 80s, even like mid 90s run is so interesting to me because how much he did and how it was even still like positively received. This sounds fantastic. Unfortunately, I watched Discount Annie Hall first, but one of these days I am going to go back because this is one of the films I'm most interested in from him.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those. Maybe not the place to start. That might be Annie Hall, but once you get further down the road, it really is a rewarding watch, and just one of the great screenplays. Also, I mean, of course, as a screenwriter, it's just again what he's able to accomplish in this film is outstanding.
I will say as well, it's kind of like the last of like the great period of Woody Allen. Like then after this, you have like stuff like Alice, which is fine-ish, but the rest of it just kind of doesn't work.
I mean, his run in the 80s is like boom, boom, boom. Purple Rose of Cairo, Hannah and Her Sisters, this film, I mean, it's like enviable is putting it lightly.
I wish articles didn't come like Purple Rose of Cairo would have been my P. It is phenomenal.
It is, yeah.
Right. Shocking turn of events. I have also not seen this one. I mean, taking away C for me hurt a little bit because I had like 5 choices. I was ready for it.
I was giving you Con Air. I was waiting.
I know. Con Air was like, it's Con Air. I was like, all right, do I go Con Air with the obvious choice? Do I go Charade, which I absolutely love and adore and is one of my favorite movies that I watched this year? Or do I go with the original Saw in Cube? But I had a couple solid C picks. But you know what? You made my life a little easier because the only letters left, I only have one pick apiece. So now I just have to pick a letter. So, and another movie that at some point I now want to watch. You're 4 for 5, or 5 for 6 of movies I want to watch.
What's the other? What's the one you want to watch? Oh, is it Greed?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Greed.
Fair enough. But the others, I will give a valid shot.
That's all we asked for.
Anthony, it falls to you. Which of the letters left are you gonna go with?
Well, I can tell you it won't be Q because I don't. The only one I have for Q is a JV wreck, and I'm not doing that. I think I'm gonna go with a Y because.
God damn it.
I apologize, but of the 3 I have sitting here, this is my favorite of the 3 because it is a great kind of dark comedy horror movie that kind of came out of left field. I don't think a lot of people expected it to be what it was, and it is called You're Next, which is a really spectacular horror comedy type film of, family get together. The guy tries family kind of tries to kill the girl, and she winds up being a badass. Like, she's a survivalist, and she just starts taking people out in awesome ways. And it's a lot of fun. It's kind of what Ready or Not kind of became of that horror comedy style, a little bit of gore, a little bit of ridiculousness, but it's a lot of fun. It's a really good movie. It's a good time. So I want to throw You're Next as my final one because the other 2 I had were good, but not as good as this one.
Okay. Still at 3.
I've picked a couple horror, so I apologize to you for that.
All right. That is all right.
Has anyone seen Your Next?
I want to.
It's a really good film. I was gonna go with Your Name if Y had fallen to me. One of my favorite anime films, but it didn't fall to me. But I think I have a good pick. A good pick.
I'm trying to remember who I was speaking to this about, but it was, someone was highly praising this because Adam Wingard obviously went on to do the Godzilla films recently. Just like, and this it was like, oh no, this is actually a fantastic film. It might have been you or that's what this about, but
I mean, if we were talking about the director, then it probably wasn't me. But if it was just about the film in general, then maybe it was me.
But yeah, so Your Next is off the list, so we have one final pick left before I force Peggy to have to pick something from either Q, U, V, or Y. So sorry, I know.
Q, U, or V.
Q, U, or V.
You guys will be picking from Q and U. I'm going with the 2012 anthology horror series VHS. VHS is it's such a good anthology horror film. It just each segment in VHS is so good and it stands alone on itself. I would say that my favorite, I'm bringing up the names of the segment. The Tape 56 frame narrative, and that's one of the first earlier ones. One of the early segments is just very scary. It's a movie where each film stands so much on its own, but when you're watching it together as an anthology, you're just like, oh, there's something going on here. And it's not something where you can enjoy each film on its own if you wanted to break it up and segment it out, but you can also watch it in one go as well. And it's one of my favorite horror movies of all time.
It's a great pick. That was on my list. I wanted it. My V was different because I wanted to change up from obviously picking another horror anthology.
Yeah, I had a feeling like that's when you said your goddamn. I was like, he didn't want to do 2 horror anthologies as all.
I really like VHS. The second one was not good. The third one, at least, was a little better. But there are a lot. But the first one, I thought was very good. I like these little short ones. You get a short, sweet horror movie, and then you move on to the next one. So you get a lot of different things. But that's a good pick. Solid. Can't argue that one.
Doing back-to-back Adam Wingard / Joe Swansburg films.
Oh, look at that.
I know. Yeah, I've heard nothing but great things about VHS. It's one one of the best horror anthologies, especially for the last half of the 21st century. Has anyone else apart from Anthony and Joe watched it?
I am like Jake brings it up. There's something about VHS versus 2 or 3. I think there's a subtitle for that. It's just like Okay, yeah. It's just like I think there's other things on the board where you're picking. Well, to me, VHS is a weird pick just because there's other editions of it, but I think that's just my brain being funky.
Oh,
That's fair. But
fair point.
yeah, that brings us to the end of the draft where me and Tony have to figure out who's trying to name a movie with the letter Q or the letter U.
Do you want me to do a rundown whilst you're thinking?
Yes, please. It's not like sitting there, I'm like, what do I have? I can't think of anything that's like,
All right, so
unbreakable.
this will be up for the poll later. I'll also do the posters and all that jazz. All right, so Joe went first this week overall, and for first overall pick, he went for Turbo Kid. I Am a Sex Addict. Everyone Wants Some. Battle Royale. Return to Oz and VHS. Anthony went second. He went Army of Darkness, Hamlers 2, I'm Back the Multi Warrior, Fanboys, XX, and You're Next. Nika went Stranger Than Paradise, Z, Mikey and Nikki, Daughters of the Dust, Greed, and Crimes and Misdemeanors. And then finally, Adelaide, Kill Your Darlings, Look Who's Back, Wag the Dog, Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman, Nymphomaniac Volume 1, and Jesus Camp.
This poll is absolutely like we're gonna learn some stuff about our friends.
Yeah, I was gonna
That's
say
what
people
this
are
is.
gonna learn. Yeah.
Gonna learn today.
All right. So you know what? While me and Tony are thinking about movies that begin with either the letter Q, which my mind will not leave White Man Can't Jump right now because of that, or the letter U, let's just go around and do the plugs real quick for everybody, so it gives us some time to figure out what the hell we're gonna name. Nico, you got anything you want to promote? You want to plug the movie that's almost nearly complete?
Yep, I'm premiering my my new short film tomorrow. It's going to be How to Do. I got my champagne around the corner to get drunk while I answer questions about said film. It's going to be a lot of fun. I will post. You can again friend me, or I can give Tony the link to the page.
Feel free to post about it tomorrow. Absolutely.
Yeah, I will. I mean, there's a Facebook page that's public. If you want to go, you can just hit that you're going, and then the link will go out. It's at 6:00 tomorrow Eastern time in the United States. So do the math on where you live, and it should be a lot of fun. I'm really happy to get this out. Finally, it's been about a year and a half. I've been working on this thing, and it's a labor of love, and hopefully my break into the big times. Hopefully, at least one small step, but it definitely encompasses everything that I've learned as a filmmaker, that hopefully these films in a way reflect on this film in a way. Maybe you'll see all 5 or 6 of these films. How much did I pick? 6? What day is it? Yeah, hopefully you'll see if for the small percentage that has seen all 6 of these films, maybe you'll see a bit of each in my film and go, oh, that's that and that's that and that's that. Okay, cool.
There you go. And we can say we knew you when you become a big old thing.
And you get to see my face again and have me talk about movies again, which I guess people really like. So.
Also, just really, once again, thank you so much for jumping in. Literally, it was like 2 seconds before we start.
Mm-hmm.
I needed it. This has been very relaxing. Super nice.
Very much appreciated. All right, Spence, what's coming up over on your guys' channel and whatnot?
Oh, I probably should have pulled it up. What I do know is that there is a match that is going up either later today or tomorrow, depending on how editing works out, between our admin, Alex Martinez-Coronado, and Jake Marangoni, as well as next week as I scramble to open my scheduling tab. Fun fact, also, this league is run by Anthony, and he is really cool. Yes, so next week we have Sammy K playing off against Tony Durso. 2 double debuts happening there, and Geek is happening. We are on a different schedule right now, so I don't know exactly what's happening. However, Geek is awesome, and Working Title is a show that might come back eventually that Anthony runs, and it's dope.
Cool. And then any social media handles you want to plug or nothing?
Follow me on Letterboxd, Adelaide_Spence99, where you can see my shit film opinions. Lately, I watched Mission Impossible, and apparently I have a bad ranking of them.
Oh, interesting. Right. Cool. And then Joe, what do you got to plug? Anything you want to direct people towards?
So I do a lot of TV stuff over at Multiplex Entertainment. Competing we just had a match go up. My team partner Mike Bryan and I had our first match in the tournament. And then I just kind of host some TV matches over there. And other than that, you can just kind of see me around the interwebs wherever Tony decides, hey, I'm bored. Let's see if Joe's available.
Oh, fair enough. And then Anthony, what you got to plug?
You'll see me around Overnight Trivia League. Spence kind of gave all the information for there. You'll see me hosting a bunch of matches and just attempting to banter and be funny, but probably failing. Not as much as they do, but failing still at the same. I'm around all sorts of leagues, playing, managing, all that good stuff. Working title hopefully comes back at some point. Just life has kind of gotten in the way recently, so I haven't had time to keep that up. Not too much else. Hopefully today I'm hoping to get a special digesting the shorts thing going, maybe. I'm hoping. So it's a potential.
Nice.
So that because I love that. And other than that, that's it. Tony will obviously pitch all the stuff for my wife. I do have Peggy, look what I still have.
That brings me
Still got it. It's never going away.
Love it. All right, cool. Then Tony, plug everything that's coming up on Featured Presentation Productions.
Yeah, absolutely. So this week, so Monday, release of Digest Cinema for budget under $1 million, Swingers. Like, fantastic episode with Aaron and Christina. Friday, as we mentioned, Digesting Force, Empire Strikes Back with Jake Berlin. Sign up sheet for Featured Presentation Movie Trivia is up now. So Sunday game, 5 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. GMT. That'll be set up tomorrow. So come along if you want to play a game which isn't just firing random questions at people. Yeah, that's it. So enough Bill Carriello hopefully should be recording next week. And that made you list with Dave Goodger listed that. Dave, mercifully, I just heard from Dave, everything's all well. So that's all good there. But yeah, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, and as I mentioned, I'll post it on the Facebook group Saturday, May 27th, 5 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. GMT. Multiple choice Maelstrom Coke Classic Carnage.
Yeah, she's
awesome.
gonna get some commission work out of that poster. No. People are gonna want that one. And then Tony, did you want to go Q or did you want to go you?
I've got one. I got one for both, so I'll let you go first, ladies first.
All right, so I had to sit there and think about it. I had to like quickly what the letter Q, and then I'm like, oh, this one. Movie from the early 90s, Quick Change. I would totally pick Quick Change. Anytime you get Bill Murray dressed in a clown suit, Robin Banks, I am on board. You put Gina Davis in there to boot, and Randy Quaid. So if you've never seen it, I'd say go see it. And what's your you movie, Tony?
Firstly, that was actually going to be the Q I was going to pick.
Nice.
It's only good Bill Murray films there is out there. Yeah,
Whoa.
He's got a hot take on Bill Murray.
I love Tony's hot take on Bill Murray.
It's really fantastic. Gina Davis was doing her in 2 weeks. It's one of the last roles she did, where it was just like before League of Their Own. Then just I don't know what happened with her career, but sadly, but yeah, Quick Change if you can do it. The youth I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna go for a weird one because it's one that I knew nothing about. It was an Amazon original movie over here, and it stars a ton of people, but I don't know because I don't follow the NBA.
Uncle Drew?
Uncle Drew?
Uncle Drew.
Uncle Drew.
The second you said it stars a bunch of NBA, I was like, Uncle Drew?
Yep.
Stop that.
I watched it on a whim. It is remarkably very good for what it is. It's basically a ton of NBA players in old prosthetics like Shaq and Demlar. Kyrie Irving plays Uncle Drew. Just everything works really well. It's just a really fantastic watch. Just like it's not. You don't have to focus on it. You just switch your brain off for an hour and change, and just watch old people play basketball very well.
Yeah, that movie works surprisingly well.
But
Good choice.
We've officially picked a movie for every letter of the alphabet. Yay!
Yeah.
Just in time for us to get out of here. I didn't do my plugs. You can find me at Peggy B Ball across all the social media platforms and stuff. If you didn't catch the pay-per-view last week, it should be coming out, I think, next weekend for everyone. I've played the Rager Rick Radis over on the Schmodown. It's a good match. You should go see it. And then next Wednesday, we are drafting movies from the year 1997. It's going to be a fun one. But let me get these people out of here. See you next week. For myself, for Nico, for Spence, for Joe, for Anthony, and Tony. Have a good week, guys. See you soon. Bye.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and please don't forget to vote.
That was awesome.
I thought it rigged.
Who's winning?
Let's see who wins.
You're gonna win.
Nothing personal. It's really gonna matter.
Tune in next week.
You see what happens?
Brand new.
Episode?
Fantasy
Film.
Fight. Doesn't matter who wins, because they're all losers.